The battle for my backyard. The morning sun was barely up, casting a soft glow over Pinewood Valley, a quiet suburb nestled along the banks of Willow Creek in northern Oregon. When I stepped onto my porch on April 17th, 2024, and saw a neon green notice slapped on my trash can. My name's Nathan Carter, a 38-year-old records clerk who spent years sifting through property deeds and county files. So I know a thing or two about legal boundaries. That garish slip of paper, with its bolded $30 violation fee in all caps, screamed petty authority. It wasn't the money that got under my skin, it was the audacity. Clara Thompson, my neighbor in her late 50s, had decided she was the self-appointed mayor of our cul-de-sac. She'd been circling my driveway for days, ever since I put up a sign on my fence that read, "Clear as day, not in HOA." That sign was my line in the sand, and Clara wasn't having it. I'd bought my Creekside bungalow 3 years ago, before the Pinewood Homeowners Association even existed. My trash contract predated their charter, and I'd never signed a single paper agreeing to their rules. Yet there Clara stood, clipboard in hand, knocking on my door like she was collecting taxes for the king. "Good morning, Nathan," she said, her voice dripping with that fake politeness you hear from someone who expects you to bow. "Your sign is an eyesore, and it's dragging down our community's charm." I glanced at the sign, simple, reflective, mounted neatly on my private property line. It wasn't flashy, just factual, Lot 3924. Outside HOA jurisdiction. "Clara, charm's nice, but the law doesn't care about pretty." I shot back, maybe a bit sharper than I meant. Her eyes narrowed, and I could tell she wasn't used to pushback. She clutched that clipboard like it gave her divine right over Pinewood Valley. Things escalated fast. By noon, Clara was back, taping another notice to my trash can. This one claiming my bin was improperly placed. My bin sat 8 feet from the curb, well within my property line, and I'd checked the county records myself. I called 311, my fingers fumbling from a mix of anger and adrenaline, and laid it out plain. Can an HOA fine a property that's not in their association? The operator transferred me to a county clerk who, after 3 minutes of typing that felt like an eternity, dropped a bombshell. "Sir, your lot is outside their boundaries. They have no authority over you." My knees nearly buckled with relief, but something told me this wasn't over. Clara's smug certainty waving her hand like she owned the whole valley felt like more than just a power trip. That evening, my neighbor Sarah Nguyen, a sharp-eyed accountant who lived next door, wandered over while dragging her trash can back from the curb. "You okay, Nathan? You look like you're about to punch a hole in your porch," she said, eyeing the phone still in my hand. I spilled the whole story, including the county's confirmation. Sarah's eyes lit up. "I've been digging into their financials," she said, ducking into her house and returning with a laptop and a stack of spreadsheets. She spread them out on my picnic table, the numbers painting a grim picture. The HOA was counting non-member properties like mine to inflate their waste tonnage, securing bigger rebates from the trash company. If they lose your lot, their rebate drops by 3%, she said, circling a figure with her pen. That's thousands of dollars. My stomach twisted. This wasn't about my signet, it was about money. The next few days turned ugly. By Wednesday, I found a second tag on my bin. This one bright red with a completely wrong lot number. I laughed at first, but the humor faded when a third tag yellow, with yet another fake number, showed up Friday. This wasn't sloppy paperwork. It was deliberate. I started documenting everything, my records training kicking in. I photographed each tag, noted dates and weather, and taped the evidence to my garage wall like a detective building a case. Neighbors started whispering. The guy who walked his lab past my house every morning lingered longer, saying, "Heard you're stirring up trouble with the HOA." His tone was neutral, but I could feel the gossip spreading, painting me as the neighborhood rebel. Clara was working overtime to turn public opinion against me. I called the non-emergency line that Friday, laying out the pattern of harassment. The dispatcher listened, then said, "Systematic mislabeling with false lot numbers. That's serious enough to document." Sarah stopped by that evening with more numbers, her accounting brain spotting what I'd missed. This could be considered civil harassment under property law. We shared a grim laugh about how the HOA was handing out violation tags like cheap coupons. But the reality wasn't funny. The pressure was mounting, and I could sense someone pulling strings to make me cave. Monday morning, April 22nd, 2024. Deputy Ryan Mitchell rolled up in his patrol car, headlights cutting through the dawn mist. He was all business, with a notepad worn from years of property disputes. "I've seen your case file," he said, scanning my stack of evidence with a nod. "HOAs only control properties that opt in. You never did, so they've got no claim here." His words were like a lifeline. He walked my property line, jotting notes, when Clara and 2 HOA board members stormed across my lawn like they owned it. "This is a private community," Clara snapped, waving her clipboard. Deputy Mitchell didn't flinch. "Ma'am, step back to the sidewalk," he said, his voice calm but ironclad. "HOAs aren't private kingdoms. Claiming power you don't have can land you in court." The other board members froze, sensing the legal line they'd crossed. Sarah's spreadsheets were burning a hole in my mind. She'd found proof the HOA had been falsifying tonnage reports for years, including non-member lots to pad their profits. I shared her findings with Deputy Mitchell, who raised an eyebrow. "That's fraud," he said, scribbling faster. We were building a case. But the real test came Tuesday when the county inspector, Laura Hayes, arrived. Her reflective vest and tablet screamed official authority. She cross-checked my deeds against county maps, measured my property line with a laser, and drafted a notice declaring my lot outside HOA control. Clara must have been watching from her window, because she sprinted down the street, papers flying, shouting, "This'll ruin our rebate system." Before anyone could blink, she snatched the notice from Laura's hands and tore it to shreds. The yard went silent. Laura's voice cut through. "Steady as steel, ma'am. You just committed a misdemeanor interfering with a county official." My jaw hit the floor. Did she just do that in front of a deputy? I whispered to Sarah, who'd rushed out at the commotion. Clara's face went white as she realized her mistake. Deputy Mitchell was already writing his report detailing the crime with timestamps and witness names. Neighbors peeked from their windows, phones out, capturing the HOA's downfall. Within 48 hours, the county attorney filed charges against Clara for obstructing a government official. The HOA faced civil suits for harassment and fraud, their insurance company sweating over liability. By Friday, April 25th, 2024, the State Oversight Board launched a full audit, uncovering years of falsified reports. The HOA board ousted Clara, issued apologies, and halted all overreach. Rumors spread that their insurance might drop them, and dissolution loomed. My fight wasn't just mine. Anna Marie. It set a precedent, protecting other non-members and landing in regional bulletins as a warning to overzealous HOAs. Standing on my porch, staring at Willow Creek, I felt a mix of relief and disbelief. My sign still stood, untouched, a quiet symbol of standing my ground. Sarah's numbers, my records, and the county's backing had turned a $30 fine into a reckoning. But as I filed the last piece of evidence, I couldn't shake Sarah's warning. Desperate people do desperate things. Clara's meltdown proved that. This wasn't just about my yard, it was about power, greed, and the cost of silence. So, what do you think? Was I right to fight? Or should I have paid the fine to keep the peace? How far would you go to protect your rights? Could you spot fraud like Sarah? Or would you miss the signs? Drop a comment, hit like, or subscribe if you're ready to stand up to bullies in your own backyard. Let's hear your take. This fight's not over yet.